Go out to the garage and bring in that blue and yellow can. It does its best work in the house, and hardly anybody keeps one inside. Most of us think of it as a man's thing, for a bolt or a hinge out in the cold, but it takes crayon off a painted wall, sticker gunk off glass, and the black scuff marks shoes leave across a kitchen floor. I used to buy a separate bottle for every one of those, and one can, $7, $8, does all three. So I tried the tricks people swear by and threw out any that would ruin something in your house. That leaves 14, and they run from the kitchen floor out to the garden gate. And number 1 saved me a repair I'd already been given a price on. So let's jump in. Number 14. There's a gray smear ground into the carpet right where everybody kicks their shoes off, and you know exactly what it is. Give that smear a good spray of WD-40 and let it sit a minute or two. Then take the back of a butter knife and lift the gum up out of the pile a bit at a time. And don't try to pull the whole thing at once. It turns soft the whole way through and not just on top, so it comes up whole instead of leaving half of itself behind. The carpet people around here won't come out for less than $75, and this was a spot the size of a quarter. Wash the place after with warm water and a drop of dish soap. Try it out of sight first, because on a wool rug that oil can leave a mark. And the spot came out without me ever calling the carpet people. Number 13. For a couple of summers, nobody at our place would sit on the back step. And it wasn't the heat, it was the wasps up under the eave, right over the porch light. Now I go along the underside of that eave and around the porch corners with a light spray a few times through the season before anybody has moved in. It leaves the wood slick, and they don't seem to want to start on a surface like that. It won't run them off for good, but around our place, they've mostly gone and built somewhere else. Now, this won't touch a nest that's already hanging up there, so call somebody with the proper spray for that one. And keep it off the porch light itself and off anything else that gets hot, because what comes out of that can is flammable. Going around that eave takes me a minute, and we're back to sitting out on that step in August. Number 12. Every house that's had a little one in it has a wall like this, a purple scribble down low, about knee-high. With 4 kids, I've had that wall in every place we've lived. Scrubbing at it with a soapy rag only spreads the wax around and takes the sheen off the paint besides. So spray a little onto a cloth, never onto the wall, and wipe the crayon in small circles. Crayon is wax, and this loosens wax and oil, so the color comes away instead of grinding deeper into the paint. Then go over the same place with warm soapy water so no oily film is left sitting there, and test a low corner first, because a flat paint can come up shinier than the wall around it. Those little white cleaning sponges run $4 or $5 a pack, and they take the finish off a painted wall while they're taking the crayon off. This way the wall stays the color it was. The same cloth handles the other kind of crayon trouble, the one that goes through the dryer in somebody's pocket and puts red streaks all around the drum. Unplug the dryer, wipe the streaks off with the cloth, and wash the drum twice with hot soapy water. Then leave the door standing open a good while to air out, because what you just wiped in there is flammable. Run a load of damp old towels through after that, to pick up the last of the wax before your good clothes go back in, and the dryer goes back to work the same day. One thing before we go on, and then I won't bring it up again. There's more of this than ever fits in one video, so I put it all into a book over at thehannahbrooks.com. If you want it, it's there. That's all. Number 11. The wheels on the chair at the desk are wound around with hair and thread, and that is why the chair drags and squeals every time you push back from it. A good many chairs go to the curb over that, and a new one is $100. So cut all of that off the axles first, or you're just oiling a knot. Then put the little red straw on the can and get down into the wheel forks and into the joint itself. One short spray each. The oil runs down inside the joint where your hand can never reach, and that is the part that was dry. Work the thing back and forth until the noise quits, and wipe up whatever runs out, because it comes out dirty and it will mark a floor. The rocking chair quiets down the same way. So does the bed frame that creaks under you every time you turn over at night, and the kitchen cart, and the crank on the hose reel. It's a thin oil, so you'll be back at it once or twice a year. 2 squirts out of that can, and ours rolls quiet again, and there's no new chair in this house. Number 10. Now into the pantry, where every jar you save has a patch of paper and glue stuck to the glass right where you want to write what's inside. You can pick at that with a thumbnail for 10 minutes and still not have it off. Give it a spray, let it sit a minute or two, and it wipes away with a paper towel, paper and glue together in one pass. I've given you the cotton ball soaked in rubbing alcohol for this before, and it does the job. This one is quicker, because you're not peeling the paper off and then working on the glue. Keep it to the glass and off any painted or printed part of the jar. Wash the jar out in hot soapy water afterward before food goes back in it, because this is not something you want anywhere near what you eat. That's a whole shelf of good jars back in service for buttons and screws and dry beans, and not one of them cost a thing. Number 9. The towel bar in the bathroom has little brown freckles coming up on it where the wet towel hangs, and so does the shower rod, and so do the folding chairs in the basement that come out at Thanksgiving. That is surface rust sitting on top of the chrome and not through it, which is the only reason it comes off at all. Spray some onto a rag or onto a crumpled piece of aluminum foil for the stubborn spots, and rub along the metal and not across it. Foil is softer than chrome, so it takes the rust and leaves the shine where it is. Only use the foil on real chrome, and try a spot down low where nobody looks before you go at the whole bar. Wipe it dry after, and keep it off the floor of the tub, because a little oil down there goes slick under a wet foot. A new towel bar is $20, and then somebody has to make fresh holes in your wall to hang it. A rag took the rust off, and nobody had to make new holes in the wall. Number 8. Get down where the light comes across the kitchen floor and you'll see them. The black streaks by the back door, along the baseboard, and over the threshold where everybody drags their heels. You can mop that spot every week and it stays right where it is. What's sitting there is rubber off a shoe sole. Spray it onto a cloth and never onto the floor. Then rub the mark until it's gone and go behind it with warm soapy water, because a floor with oil left on it is how somebody in your house falls. Now, folks will tell you it works on bare wood too. I tried that on a bare back step, and the wood went dark right where I sprayed, and it never lightened back up. So keep this to a floor that's sealed, and do it with the burners off and cold and a window open. The floor sprays that promise to take those marks off run $6-7 a bottle, and the one under my sink is still half full because it never did touch a scuff. Those little sponges for the wall are already off your shopping list, and we're only halfway down. The ones still coming are the bigger jobs, so stay with me. Number 7. Your pruners take 2 hands to open now, and it isn't your grip. Sap and dirt work their way down into the pivot where the 2 halves cross and dry in there like glue, so the blades bind. Wipe the blades off with an old rag, then send a squirt straight down into that joint and open and close them 20 or 30 times. Wipe the joint clean afterward. Do the kitchen shears and the sewing scissors the same way, and wash any blade that touches food before you use it again. Mine were already in the pile to be thrown out, and there was never a thing wrong with them. They were stuck. Now they open with one hand and they're back on the shelf. Number 6. This one's for whoever pushes the mower at your house, and at mine, that's as likely to be me. Before you cut the grass this weekend, tip the mower up and look underneath the deck. There's a mat of dried clippings packed up in there, and it stays wet against bare metal all season, which is what rusts a deck out from the inside. Scrape off what's caked on and give the clean underside a light coat, and the wet grass slides off it instead of building up week after week. Do it with the engine off and cold. Pull the wire off the spark plug first, and tip the mower with that spark plug side up so no gas runs out where it shouldn't. And the mowers I've priced at the store start around $300. 5 minutes underneath it twice a summer, and you put that off for years. Number 5. You painted the back bedroom in June, and you're still finding the drips, hardened on the tile, dried in dots across the window glass, and stuck to the doorknob nobody took off. Scraping at dry paint with a blade is how a window gets scratched for good, so take the can to it instead. Wet the drip right down, wait 2 or 3 minutes for it to soften, then push it off with the edge of an old credit card and wipe the smear away. The paint lets go of the glass instead of chipping off it, which is why it comes up in one piece instead of 100 flakes. Then go over the glass with warm soapy water, or it looks smeared every time the sun hits it. Keep this to glass, tile, and metal, and off the wall you just finished. There's a solvent sold for exactly this job, $8-9 a can for one afternoon's work. The one from the garage did every window in the house, and not one pane has a mark on it. Number 4. Everybody knows to spray a squeaky hinge. Here's why the squeak comes back on you. WD-40 was made to push water out and free up what's stuck, not to sit in there and carry the weight of a door, so the oil creeps out and dries, and in a month or 2 you're hearing it again. So do it in 2 steps. Lay a rag under the hinge, spray the pin, and swing the door 20 times to carry the old dirt out. Then wipe the black off the pin and off the jamb. While it's clean, work a little petroleum jelly onto that pin with your finger, the same jar I gave you for a hinge before, or a dab of white grease from the hardware store. The spray carries the dirt out, and the jelly is what stays in there afterward. Most of the time, new hinges are money wasted because it's the dirt making that noise, and a new pair picks up the same dirt. A worn pin or a sag door is a different job. Do both steps, and that door stays quiet all winter instead of calling you back every month or 2. Number 3. now out to the gate. That latch has to be lifted and jiggled just so before it lets go. The mailbox door squeals at the letter carrier, the bolts on the porch railing have gone orange, and the hasp on the shed does the same thing. I mean the metal that lives outside all year, not the hand tools put away in the shed. Up here, the spring rain gets into every bit of that, and come January, the road salt finishes the job. So twice a year, once when the garden goes in and once before the snow, wipe each one clean and give it a short spray, then wipe the extra off so it isn't sitting there catching dust. What's left is a thin film that keeps water off the bare metal, and water is where rust gets started in the first place. Let a mailbox go too far and you're buying the post under it too. $40 and an afternoon of digging. 12 winters on that mailbox now, and I've never once had to dig for a new post. Number 2. The padlock on the shed has sat out since last fall, and now it's stiff to open. The spigot handle out back won't budge, and the hose is on that connector so tight you've thought about cutting it off. Everything I've told you so far has been quick, and this one is the opposite. Soak the seam where the two pieces meet, and I mean soak it, then walk away and leave it 15 minutes. Longer than that if it's bad. Come back, hit it again, and work it a little at a time instead of hauling on it, and give the body of the lock a tap with a hammer to shake the rust loose. It works its way down into that seam where nothing else can get, and once it's in there, the rust loses its hold. You want it on the body of the lock and the seam, and never down the keyhole. Oil sits in a keyhole and collects dirt, and after a while, the key won't turn at all. It doesn't win every time, and if a thing is rusted clean through, no can of anything is going to save it. A good hose is $30. That one came off the connector after 20 minutes of me doing nothing at all. Before number 1, if this list has already saved you a trip to the store, go ahead and click that subscribe button and turn on the notifications too. There's a long line of these money savers still waiting their turn. Number 1. The sliding door out to the deck is the one nobody ever fixes. You brace a foot against the frame and pull with both hands. The little ones can't open it at all, and everybody in the house just learns to live with it. Last spring, I finally had a fellow come out and look at ours. $240, he said, for the 2 little wheels underneath and an hour of his time. Here's what I did before I called him back. Vacuum that track out well, then scrub the groove clean. I've told you before to run an old toothbrush and some vinegar down there, and it's that packed-in grit that grabs the door and makes you fight it. Dry it out, then spray a cloth and run it the whole length of the track, and put the straw on the can and give one short shot into the little holes along the bottom edge of the door where the rollers sit. Slide it open and shut a few times to work it in, then wipe the track down so it isn't left wet, because an oily track grabs every bit of sand that blows in. The can frees it and cleans it the way it did that hinge, and like that hinge, it isn't a once and done. Go back down that track a couple of times a year and it keeps sliding. The window that sticks in its channel every summer opens the same way once you do this to it, and so does a screen door that drags. On a wood window, keep it to the metal channel and off the bare wood. Now, if those rollers underneath are really worn down or broken apart, cleaning the track won't help them a bit. That's a real repair, and he wasn't overcharging me for it. But ours was not broken. It was dirty and dry, and it went from 2 hands and a shove to 1 finger in 20 minutes. Most of what we pay somebody to come fix is the same story. That WD-40 can sat out in the cold garage all this time, and I'd have paid a man to do what it does. Actually, the good Lord had the answer sitting on a shelf out there the whole while. That's 14 jobs around the house out of 1 can of WD-40 that costs $7-8, and it sits under my sink now, right beside that floor spray that never did the job. Now tell me the one you'd never heard of before today, down in the comments. I read every single one. And YouTube's got another money saver sitting right above this one. Go on and have a look, and I'll meet you over there.